Now, sir, we can
First, I
start.
will give
Sir,
introduction,
now, sir, we can
then I
start
will
this session,
introduce,
sir.
and then you can take over.
Sir, we can start this session now.
Okay, okay. Now we are in live. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on disaster response management for the construction of New India. Greetings from Department of Civil Engineering, Amity University, Haryana. It gives an immense pleasure to share a feeling of gratitude to introduce today's speaker, Professor Jog Bhatia, currently working as a director and professor of Desh Bhagat University. He completed his MBA and PhD from International Azmat, Singapore. Professor Joe worked as assistant commandant in ITB Police, is an expert in the field of disaster management. He has an experience of more than 24 years in the administration and organization management, training, teaching, human resource management, and he has got a lot of national as well as international exposure. He remained outstanding throughout his service till now, and he is highly appreciated and awarded time to time for his contribution and strategy building to bring up with the new establishments and organizing like NDRF. Having a service our nation for 24 years and being worked with the different capacities and portfolios, his service as can be utilized in administration, management, teaching, and exploring a new avenues in the field of disaster management courses and marketing. With this introduction, now I would request Dr. Jog Bhatia to deliver a talk on disaster response management for the construction of New India. Sir, now thanking you. Now you can take over. Sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Naveen. So, good afternoon, everyone. It's a great honor and pleasure that today I am in front of you. And our main purpose of being introduced with each other with is that we should understand, and whatsoever I feel that you learn today or you get some ideas today, you implement in the daily life. So my lecture is not academic type; it is more a practical type that we should understand in our daily lives. And these things should not be kept just in within ourselves, but it should be shared with everybody. Because disaster comes all of a sudden and takes away lives of a large number of people. So whenever any disasters come, it leaves us with a big pain and a pain of losing our near and dear ones. So our main objective is that once we are properly prepared, we are properly aware, the disaster, we should make our country very much disaster free with the help of our skills which are developed for awareness, preparedness, and the biggest thing is mitigation. So one by one, and then we will just define how our disaster management is going over in our India and what is actually the requirement that is there. And that requirement has to be completed by joining our hands. Let us all join our hands. It is not just the work of forces or it is not just the work of NDRF or army to bring us out of the disasters for response management, but it is a big responsibility of the engineers and academians and everyone to join hands, even the civilians, so that we can make our country a strong country. So before starting, I just want to share with you a small story in 2 minutes. You all have heard about the story of a tortoise and a hare when you were studying in the school. What happened? That they both had a challenge that who will win the race. So who won the race? It was tortoise. And what was the moral of that story? The moral was that slow and steady wins the race. But actually the story didn't end here. The hare thought that it is a great insult to me, such a fast moving animal, and the tortoise had just beaten me. So he again went to the tortoise and said that let us have one more race. I once again. So once again, the tortoise was challenged and there was a race between the two friends. This time, the hare ran very fast, very fast. He knew that earlier time he was overconfident and he slept under a tree. That's why he lost the game. So this time he was fully energetic and keep on running continuously and won the race. So what is the moral of this story? Definitely we can say fast and steady wins the race. You can just see around yourself, your friends and your society, the people who are very fast and who just run very steadily, they win the race, isn't it? But story even didn't end here. The tortoise said that it is a great insult to me. Earlier I was the winner, but now hare has won the race. So he again went to the hare and challenged him that let us have one more race. But this time, what the tortoise decided that the route will be mine. So he decided the route in which there was a river in between. So the hare ran very fast, but at the bank of the river, hare became helpless. Tortoise comes slowly, slowly, slowly. In the evening, swam over the river, got to the target, and won the race. What is the moral of this story? We can say strategic planning wins the race. If you have got a proper strategy, you have got a proper planning, definitely you are going to win. So the disaster management, it is just not a vague thing that yes, something has happened, buildings have collapsed. Now let us.
Sorry to intervene, sir. Your slide is not moving.
Presently, I am not moving my slides. Actually.
Okay, sir.
Interacting with you. This story is not in my slide actually. Everyone listening me? I'm audible? Are you enjoying me?
Yes, sir. You are
Yeah.
audible. Sir.
Yeah, it is audible. You
Thank
can
you.
go ahead, sir, please.
Okay, thank you, thank you. In disaster management also, we need a proper strategy, we need a proper planning to win the race. Whether it is an earthquake or it is a flood or it is a cyclone or any type of emergency condition will become. But once we are prepared to make the buildings according to it. In the cyclone prone areas like in Orissa, we are making the building according to it, according to the direction of the wind and making the basements accordingly and making the structural designs. So definitely not that much destruction will take place. Similarly, in the case of earthquakes, similarly in the case of floods. So these all things comes in proper strategy making, and this strategy making is not of a 1 or 2 days, it is of the years to come. Like Japan has made strategy for the next 100 years to face the earthquakes, and they are making all their buildings, their roads, their everything, their bridges, which are earthquake proof. So, but I tell you, the story even didn't end here. This time the tortoise went, the hare thought that it is again inside. यार ये तो गड़बड़ हो गई बहुत ज़्यादा. ये तो फिर वैसे जीत गया. So he again come to the tortoise and said that let us have one more race. But this time the both decided that we both will run together. So what happened? The tortoise sat on the back of the hare. Hare ran very fast to the bank of river. Then hare sat on the back of the tortoise, and tortoise swam over the river, and both got to the target very soon. So what is the moral of this story? That is teamwork. That is the teamwork. And teamwork is the spirit of disaster management. So this is the biggest thing that you have to keep. That teamwork is the spirit of disaster management. Before going for any type of lecture, before going of any type of training or studies in disaster management, the basic attitude you have to develop is that of teamwork. Because disaster management is not a subject of a single faculty. Whether it is a mechanical, it's electrical, it's electronics, it's computer, it's civil engineering, architecture, or even the local population or of any other. It is all the teamwork, because whenever any disaster comes, it also don't see that from which faculty that person is coming from and what is the age of that person, what is the sex of that person. It strikes anyone. It can make anyone a victim. So we all have to join hands to fight with these emergency conditions in such a way that disasters may not happen. So what are the objectives? After the completion of my lecture, you should be able to just give the answers of the following concepts. To understand the concept and different causes of disasters. What actually the cause of disaster? What is the actual concept of disaster? Whatsoever we are thinking till now is disaster is actually not a disaster. Now, to investigate the severe emergencies caused by industry, warfare, and terrorists in India. CVR means chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear emergencies, which are caused by industry, warfare, and terrorists in India. Here, the civil engineering has got a great task to do. To visualize the mitigation concept of natural and anthropologically created hazards. Now, we will understand the mitigation concepts. What is mitigation? Mitigation are the methods and processes by which we can reduce the impact of the disaster, or we can just minimize the disaster, or even not let the disaster to happen. So these are processes and skills that we utilize, that is called the mitigation. Then to build up a model of sustainable development, taking care of the element of disaster management in it, and a big role of civil engineering in this, because maximum of the development works, development of the infrastructure. With every development, there is a risk is attached, and there is a chances of collapse is also there. So when you attach the element of disaster management with your every project of civil engineering, definitely you are going to achieve the dream of sustainable development. We talk about sustainable development, but what happens? A single disaster comes and all the development process comes to ground zero. And then we again start from the beginning. So in order to achieve this dream of sustainable development, we should always keep the segment of disaster management in our process. Disaster is not a classic act of God. जब भी कोई दुर्घटना घट जाती है तो कहते हैं कि परमात्मा को यही मंजूर था, इतने लोगों की मौत हो गई और इतने लोगों की डेथ हो गई, भगवान यही चाहता था, अच्छे लोगों को भगवान जल्दी ले जाता है. बट इट इज नॉट सो. ये कमी रह जाती है हमारी खुद की. You can see natural causes आ गए, earthquake, cloudburst, landslide, snow avalanche, coastal hazards, large numbers of buildings get collapsed, large number of people get swept up. बहुत सारा नुकसान होता है, लेकिन हम कहते हैं कि भगवान की ये मर्जी थी. Accidental fires in the buildings, even the jungle fires, fires in industries, then transportation accidents, attacks by enemy or terrorists trying to infiltrate, and planned development works leading to hybrid disasters and collapse structures. When the development process like bridges or buildings or anything which are not properly planned and the element of disaster management is not kept in it, it collapses. Then we say that भगवान को यही चाहिए था, भगवान को यही मंजूर था. But it is not so. हमारी गलती रह गई थी. अगर सड़क के ऊपर कोई एक्सीडेंट हुआ है, वो इसलिए हुआ है क्योंकि हमारे को प्रॉपर ड्राइविंग सेंस नहीं है, सड़कें अच्छी नहीं है, प्रॉपर ट्रैफिक लाइट्स नहीं है, प्रॉपर ट्रैफिक रूल्स को हम लोग फॉलो नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, और हमको वो वाली एजुकेशन नहीं दी गई है कि हम उसको प्रॉपरली फॉलो करें, जिस कारण से वो डेथ हुई है, जिस कारण से वो डिजास्टर हुआ है, जिसको कि पूरी तरह से अवॉइड किया जा सकता. And careless or deliberate release of hazmat, severe and contamination and landmine. और हम लोग जितने भी डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस करते हैं, इंडस्ट्रीज बनाते हैं, उसमें जो वेस्ट प्रोडक्ट्स हैं उनकी डिस्पोजल का प्रॉपर ध्यान नहीं होता. एंड खासतौर पर हैजार्डस मटेरियल, रिलीज ऑफ हैजार्डस मटेरियल, चाहे आप जैसे केमिकल इंडस्ट्रीज की बात करें, चाहे किसी भी प्रकार की इंडस्ट्रीज की बात करें, हम लोग सामान नदियों में फेंक दिया, कहीं फेंक दिया या हवा में छुड़ा दिया, और जिस कारण से कंटेमिनेशन फैला, और कंटेमिनेशन के कारण बहुत ज्यादा नुकसान हो गया. और यहाँ तक कि ताजमहल की जो बिल्डिंग है वो भी खराब क्यों हो रही है? इफ यू थिंक अबाउट द फ्रॉम द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ द कंस्ट्रक्शंस ऑफ द सिविल इंजीनियरिंग, that is also because of hazmat material which is being released in air by the industries. The buildings की जो लाइफ है वो भी बहुत कम होती है hazardous material के कारण. Now we come to hazard, risk and vulnerability. तो दोस्तों, आप लोगों ने सोचा था कि अगर मैं आपसे एग्जांपल पूछूं तो आप क्या जवाब देंगे? मैं पूछता हूं किसी से, वो कहते हैं कि डिजास्टर, हाँ जी, नेचुरल डिजास्टर जैसे अर्थक्वेक हो गया, साइक्लोन हो गया, एवलांच हो गया, क्लाउड बर्स्ट हो गया, एंड सो मेनी. फिर मैं कहता हूं कि मैन मेड डिजास्टर्स की बात कीजिए तो आप कहते हैं कि एक्सीडेंट्स हो गया, सम इंडस्ट्रियल एक्सीडेंट हो गया, कोई प्लेन क्रैश हो गया, कोई अटैक हो गया, टेररिस्ट अटैक हो गया, वारफेयर हो गया. दीज आर ऑल द मैन मेड. बट you will be surprised to know कि जितने भी नाम अभी तक लिए हैं मैंने, none of them is a disaster. इनमें से कोई भी डिजास्टर नहीं है, but these are all the causes of the disaster. ये सब डिजास्टर के कॉज है. earthquake itself is not a disaster, it is a cause of disaster. What is it? It is just a shaking of earth crust. धरती का हिलना, अर्थ क्रस्ट का हिलना, उस कारण से earthquake आया. But earthquake never kills anybody. But the buildings and the structures that we build up, that get collapsed. And with the collapse of those structures, people get buried under it and they get killed. तो वो killing किसने की है? वो earthquake ने की है क्या? Earthquake is a natural process. It has to. We have learned to live with earthquake. आजकल कोरोना फैला हुआ है ना, कहते हैं रोज कि learn to live with the corona. कोरोना किसी को मार रहा है? अगर आप proper precautions ले रखे हैं, आप अंदर एंट्री नहीं होने दे रहे हैं, आप social distancing रख रहे हैं, तो कोरोना आपका क्या बिगाड़ेगा? तो just keep we have to prepare for it, for any type of disaster. So what actually are present with us, they are hazards. We are living around with hazards. There are large number of hazards. From the time the mind or the earth has come into existence, hazards are always there. Hazard is any agent that can cause harm or damage to human property or the environment. तो हजार को भी खतरा है, हमेशा हमेशा रहता है, जो कि किसी को नुकसान देने की क्षमता होती है उसमें, जो कि ह्यूमन बीइंग को खराब कर सकता है, प्रॉपर्टी को नुकसान कर सकता है, बिल्डिंग स्ट्रक्चर्स को गिरा सकता है, या फिर एनवायरनमेंट को पोल्यूट कर सकता है, खराब कर सकता है, कंटेमिनेशन फैला सकता है. दीज आर ऑल हजार्ड्स. एंड कोई भी हजार्ड है, हर हजार्ड के साथ एक रिस्क एसोसिएटेड, कि हाउ मच इज द रिस्क, कि ये रिस्क कि वो हजार्ड घटना घटाएगा, कुछ नुकसान कर सकता है. Risk is defined as the probability that exposure to a hazard will lead to a negative consequence. Hazard है, उसका exposure भी है, पर जरूरी नहीं है कि वो आपको नुकसान दे, क्योंकि अगर आपने मिटिगेशन का फैक्टर लगा दिया बीच में तो hazard रहेगा, लेकिन आपको नुकसान नहीं पहुंचा पाएगा या कम से कम पहुंचाएगा. और रिस्क वो प्रोबेबिलिटी है कि वो आपको कितना नुकसान पहुंचा पा रहा है, कितना नेगेटिव कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज उसकी हो रही है. इट डिपेंड्स ऑन वर्नरेबिलिटी, कि आप जहाँ रह रहे हैं, आपका इलाका कितना वर्नरेबल है उस हजार्ड के लिए. Vulnerability is the extent to which the community can be affected by the impact of hazard. कितना कम्युनिटी पर इफेक्ट हो सकता है. जैसे पहाड़ का कोई स्लोप है, स्लोप के ऊपर कुछ बिल्डिंग्स बनी है, या जस्ट स्लोप के नीचे बिल्डिंग बनी है जिसकी 60 डिग्री से कम स्लोप है, तो नेचुरली अगर कोई अर्थक्वेक आता है तो देयर आर मोर चांसेस ऑफ लैंडस्लाइड एट दैट. विद द लैंडस्लाइड इज अनदर हजार्ड, earthquake is another hazard, and with the hazard of landslide, that area can be destroyed. So that is the vulnerability. If that area is at the base of that hill, which is of this slope of 60 degree and above, so it means it is more vulnerable. If that area of habitation is in plain area, that is less vulnerable. If you have got a buildings which are kacha and non-structural buildings, and there is a chance of earthquake, there is a hazard which is an earthquake, it lies near a fault line, so it means it is having more vulnerability. If the buildings are made structured, proper seismic belts are made, and buildings are made that can bear the shocks up to 9, vulnerability is less. So this is what we have to take care while doing any development. So we have to take care of these hazards. If we take care of the hazards at the very best time, remember, if we are prepared, if we are alert, if we are aware, if we have got a proper mitigation processes with us, the disaster is not going to happen, and we can have a very safe site with us. So this should be our dream, to make our country the safer and happier place to live in by us and our coming generation also. So you can just think, see this diagram also. The habitat is just at the downhill, and there is a stone or rock which is going to come down. So there is a potential for the event to occur. There is an event to occur that boulder may come down and kill large number of people. So therefore there is a risk. So the area that is vulnerable area. Hazard is that stone, that boulder. But once we understand this thing, that there is a boulder at the top of the hill, what we do? We go and tie up that boulder at the top of the hill and make small structures around it so that it may not roll down. What is this? That is mitigation. We may just break up the boulder slowly and remove that hazard. So this is what is called disaster management. How we do the disaster management, how we decrease the vulnerability, or how we decrease the hazard, and how we decrease the risk. So this is the basic concept that should be in our mind. Disaster management is not a subject of just seminars, workshops, webinars, and all these things. It is a way of life. It is a way of life. It's a way of our thinking. It is the attitude that develops inside us. So this is what you can see, the climatic change and climatic events are there. It creates the hazards, and there is a vulnerable society which is near to it. When hazard and vulnerable society both comes near, the risk goes on increasing, and some disaster may happen. So our target is to decrease the vulnerability. We just decrease the hazard so that risk can be decreased and our society may become less vulnerable and it may become safe. So for the mitigation, this is the measures put in place to minimize the effect from the hazard. So identify what are the hazards. Even in your university area also, just identify what are the hazards. Suppose a chemical lab which is carrying a large number of chemicals there, that is a hazardous area, hazardous chemical areas. So manage, just keep fire extinguishers near to it so that in case anything happens, we can respond immediately. So for managing it, just keeping the fire extinguisher will not work because it is mandatory that for every high-rise building or any professional buildings, you have to keep the fire extinguishers. Keeping the fire extinguishers will do nothing until and unless you give the responsibility to a particular person to operate that fire extinguisher, and he should be knowing how to operate that fire extinguisher, and he should have a minimum time access to that fire extinguisher also, so that in case of any fire, the fire extinguisher can be used. Just make an insight of yourself, your university, your area, that yes, fire extinguishers are there, but in case of any hazard and risk coming together to the vulnerable area, and there is some fire incident, who is going to respond? Is the management. This management is very much necessary, and if it has not been done till now, do it now. And then that person who has been nominated for that, immediately within no time he will come and mitigate, use that equipment and mitigate the hazard so that it may not become any disaster. So for that, we have to need preparedness. Preparedness is must. So planning how to respond. So in your university building, you just plan that these are the fire extinguishers, these are placed. So if they are placed at the right place, or they are placed only because they have been placed? Just work out on it. Let your students do work on it. Then plan how to respond. In case there is a fire in this place, if there is a short circuit at this place, just do it vulnerability mapping of your area. Then how we will respond. So preparedness plans, emergency exercises, training, warning systems, and even the retrofitting of buildings, the buildings which are in the vulnerable areas, especially in earthquake prone areas or in cyclone prone areas, its retrofitting is very much required so that they can be made earthquake proof by 3 seismic belts which are to be made and make those buildings in a block structure. So that is also a part of preparedness. So if we have started the preparedness, definitely we are decreasing the risk of that hazard. Hazard is there, it is going to come, but risk is being decreased because you are reducing the vulnerability also because you have strengthened up. Then response, in case, in spite of all your preparedness, the hazard is able to overpower you and it is going to become a disaster. Then what comes? We don't want any disaster to come because disaster kills large number of people. So we give response. So immediate response so that we can save maximum life and property and bring everything out of the grips of that hazard so that disaster may not happen. Even up to the last resort, we will try that disaster may not happen. So initial actions taken as the event take place. It involves efforts to minimize the hazards that may create a disaster. Example, evacuation, search and rescue, emergency relief. So social media also plays a very important role for dissemination of the information, evacuation of the people, and helping each other. Especially Facebook, WhatsApp, and internet facilities, communication systems, they play a very important role. Then comes the disaster management cycle. It has 4 parts. First starts from preparation, that we are preparing. Because our target is that disaster may not happen. Disaster should not happen. So our first is the preparation, that is before any impact. So in spite of preparation, if there is an event which happens. So before preparation, we were working on mitigation processes. That in case some happens or something is going to happen, we are already prepared for that and we are mitigating those hazards. We are minimizing the effects of those hazards. And these all comes in capacity building. We are building up the capacity. It is risk management because we are managing the risk which is going to come. once the event has happened, even after all risk management, even after all the knowledge, all mitigation processes, all preparations, the hazard has become more strong than our preparation. An event will occur. And at the time of event, we are not scared. We are prepared. So we just respond. We immediately respond so that disaster may not occur, for evacuation and all these things. So this is crisis management. Now crisis has taken place. It is an emergency condition, and we have to bring out our society, our people from this emergency again back to the normal life. Then with the response, we restore the conditions, then again start restructuring, and recovery will start. And every recovery will become more strong. It includes some total of all activities, programs, and measures which can taken up before, during, and after the disaster happens. So, as per the definition of disaster by Disaster Management Act 2005, don't just go deep into the definition, which is part. I will just give you the gist that it is any type of calamity or any type of happening that affect on a community or area in such a way that there is a loss of life and property, there is economic loss, there is a loss of health and health services, and those losses are in such a way that the community on which that loss has come is unable to come out itself from that tragedy. External help is required. Suppose there is a fire in your university, and all people are that much prepared that with the help of fire extinguishers, you have disturbed that fire and everything has come normal, except some economic loss. Then that will not be a disaster. If there is a loss of life, there is a loss of property, and you are not able to come up, and you need the help of Air Force, you need the help of NDRF, you need the help of Army or other people to come and help you, and fire brigade, then definitely that will come in the definition of disaster. And what are the causes of disaster? Here also, when people say disaster, these are not the types of disaster. These are all the causes of disaster. The natural disaster, anthropogenic disaster, there's a man-made disasters, and third is hybrid disaster. Now, distribution of disasters identified by high-powered committee, K.C. Pant committee. It was formed before the Disaster Management Act, and it identifies the disasters into 5 different categories. And the water and climate caused disasters. And you can just imagine that how much important role civil engineering has to play for every type of the cause of disaster. Flood and drainage management, cyclones, tornadoes, hailstorm, cloudburst, heat wave and cold waves, snow avalanches, droughts, sea erosion, and thunder and lightning. And this, you can see this tsunami. There are 10, and tsunami was later on added, which happened on 26 December 2004. And this is the scene of Car Nicobar Air Force Station, where the tsunami is coming. Then geological caused disasters are landslides and mud flows, earthquakes, dam failures, dam bursts, and mine fires. And you can see the Burj earthquake that is also on 26th January 2001. I have seen that many of the disasters that have come on 26th. If you see the data, most of the disasters are on 26th. It is not sure that it always happens on 26th, but maximum of the disasters that I see in the data, they are on 26th, maybe of any month. And I tell you, my marriage was also on 26th. Not only marriage, I was born on 26th. I got my job and I got in the field of disaster management. I am taking disaster management. So it is just having fun with you. Nothing like that. Disaster may occur anytime at any place, any pre-war. So now, third are the chemical, industrial, and nuclear causes. The chemical and industrial disasters, industries, and nuclear disasters. Then accidents that maybe forest fire, urban fire, mine, flooding, oil spills, major building collapse, series bomb blasts, festival-related disasters. You have seen that during sometimes, many times there are big fires that take place, and sometimes there are collapsed buildings also that can take up the large number of lives. air, road, and rail accidents, boat capsizing, village fire, etc. Then biological caused disasters like biologically disasters and epidemics. Even you can add pandemic, which is going nowadays, pest attacks, cattle epidemics, food poisoning, biowarfare. Now, natural disasters. So this is the operation which you can see in this. You're seeing in the picture. I was also there in the same operation. There was a Uttarakhand grand disaster in 17th June 2013, and IT at that time I was working with ITBP, and I was there as a nodal officer at Gochar. Gochar was the nodal point for rescue operation, and from there we responded to Kedarnath temple. And our team of ITP was the first team which reached Kedarnath and started evacuating the people. On 18th June, this Gaurikund, we moved on foot towards the Kedarnath. And on 19th June, first rescue team ITP moving towards Kedarnath. So this is the tsunami, Bhuj earthquake. And then comes anthropogenically or technologically caused disasters. So somewhere here, man is more responsible for such a type of events, which may become disaster, like bomb blast, attacks on Taj. It also happened on 26 November 2008. Then there was a ship, Titanic Liverpool, that sank on 15th April 2012. Then Bhopal gas tragedy, where chemical methyl isocyanate was released and a large number of people were killed. It was 3rd December 1984. Disaster can be of any type, but its long-term consequences are always same because it comes all of a sudden and leaves behind people with tears and the pain of losing your near and dear ones. So in the last decade, it is observed that anthropogenic or man-caused disasters have increased manifold. There are certain myths. कुछ मनमानियां हैं हमारे मन के अंदर, कुछ ऐसी शंकाएं हैं, हम सोचते हैं कि ऐसा नहीं होगा. सबसे पहला मिथ है कि इट कांट हैपन टू अस, दैट वर्ल्ड ट्रेड सेंटर के ऊपर आप देख रहे हैं किस प्रकार से अटैक हुआ एंड लार्ज नंबर ऑफ पीपल वर किल्ड एंड हाउ यू कैन सी द बिल्डिंग दैट collapsed, that was a pancake collapse. That is a very big subject of research in civil engineering regarding the collapse of the buildings, that how various types of buildings collapse and what are the void spaces in the buildings whenever the building collapse, and search and rescue team reaches there from where you can get the live people. Collapse structure search and rescue. There is a subject which is called collapse structure search and rescue. So for such a type of search and rescue, how the building collapses, what is the structure of that building, that you can get void spaces from where you can get live people while evacuating. So the main myth is that we think that it can't happen to us. पड़ोसी का घर हर कोई जलता हुआ देख सकता है, टीवी में देखे खूब हम देखते हैं, एंजॉय करते हैं, लेकिन हम सोचते हैं कि हमारे साथ कभी ऐसा नहीं होगा. ऐसा हमारे साथ भी हो सकता है. WMD agents are so deadly the victims will die anyway. WMD का मतलब होता है weapons of mass destruction, because at that time the terrorists used airplanes as weapons of mass destruction. और उस एयरप्लेन को उन्होंने क्या किया, बिल्डिंग के ऊपर स्ट्राइक कर दिया, और they used that airplanes as a weapons of mass destruction, and due to the fuel of that airplane there was a tremendous amount of heat generated, and with that heat the RCC structures of that building, the steel that was there, the iron that was in the building, it got melted, and with the melting of that RCC structure the building got pancake collapse in World Trade Center. So there is nothing we can do. We can do everything. Now we come to know that such a things can happen. So we will make structures in such a way that even the striking of airplanes or even the striking of missile may not happen. The building of domes and various types of nuclear reactors buildings, they are made in such a way that even if the missile strikes them, the missile will just slip and may change its direction. So various types of designs which are being made. So we have to work on it also, especially those vulnerable places we have to design in such a things. So this is just we have to keep in our mind while designing the projects. So if we are prepared, we are aware, nobody is going to die. Remember this thing, because we are born here on this earth to live and enjoy the life and not just to die. Now, why terrorists are going towards weapons of mass destruction? Because the agents are very easily available and easy to manufacture. And large amount is not required in enclosed spaces. It is very difficult to recognize because some person will come, kill a large number of people, use some test tube, put some chemical, and run away. And nobody is going to recognize who came and who went where, and can impact large areas and gives very big psychological trauma to our population, to our government, to our administration. And these weapons of mass destruction materials are very easily available. They can be made in home production, laboratory and commercial productions. Even the industries which make cement, which make various types of uh, fertilizers, which makes insecticides, paint industry, these all use organophosphorus compounds. And until and unless these compounds are in the hands of technicians, scientists, or the people who are working for the benefit of the humanity, they are for the benefit of mankind. But when these agents comes in the hands of wrong people, antisocial elements, they can become the weapons of mass destruction. Then industrial facilities, they are using nuclear, chemical, and many more uh, biological substances for research and all these things, which when comes in the hands of antisocial elements or the terrorists, they can become a weapons of mass destruction. That foreign military sources, they are already helping the antisocial elements to disturb the normal working of a country. Then medical, university research factories, they are also using such a type of things. So potential targets, they are enclosed spaces that you can see the 26th November, there was an attack on Taj Hotel. So where they can capture a large number of people, large crowds. So where there is a large gathering, high profile events like religious events or any political events, large crowds, they are mostly the targets of the terrorists. Then critical facilities and infrastructure, which can increase a big media attention. Accessible facilities and facilities of interest to terrorist cause, like any industries or a nuclear plant or any type of school, college, university, where they can capture. You heard about that they had already captured one university in America. Once there was a fire there, and once they captured one school, army school in Pakistan also, and killed a large number of people. So all these facilities, they are very much of the interest of the terrorists. So along with the safety, you should also take care of the security. When patrolling should always be moving and always keep your eyes and ears open all the time. Don't think that you are very much safe. If they can attack Pakistan school, they can attack Delhi also, they can attack Punjab also, Chandigarh also, and at the place where I am also, they can attack. Because none of the place is nowadays, which we can say is safe from terrorist attack. So one of the equipment that they use is improvised explosive device. What is an improvised explosive device? You all have been heard about IEDs, improvised explosive device. In most of the forces, the civil engineering department is given the department of diffusing the IEDs. Even in ITBP, in paramilitary forces, and even in army, the engineering department, they are given this charge. Uh, or if any one of you is in the forces, they might be knowing that that is called the pioneer branch. They are given the responsibility to diffuse any type of bombs or any type of IEDs. And even laying down of IEDs in various places and various terrains, that is also given, that is also done by civil engineering branch in the forces. So IED is a various type of bomb which just strikes with surprise. Suppose there is a bag or a tiffin or mobile phone lying on the ground and you just pick up the mobile phone. Yes, very good. So, मेरे को तो आईफोन का मोबाइल गिरा हुआ मिल गया, लेकिन आपने जैसे ही उसको उठाया, it blasted. आपने कभी सोचा नहीं था कि ऐसा कभी होगा और killed large number of people. Similarly, is the Parker pen or any tiffin which is placed on the cycle or a scooter. तो दिल्ली में जितने भी इस प्रकार के बम ब्लास्ट पिछले दिनों में भी हुए, वो आईडीज के द्वारा हुए, इम्प्रोवाइज्ड एक्सप्लोसिव डिवाइसेस. बिकॉज एक्सप्लोसिव डिवाइस नॉर्मल बम नहीं है, उसको किसी ना किसी खिलौने में डाल दिया या किसी ना किसी सरप्राइज के साथ डाल दिया, जिससे आपको धोखा हुआ, आपको पता नहीं लगा कि कैसे करना. most heinous of the crime is this aid. Uh, Dr. Naveen, am
Yes,
I
sir.
audible?
Yes, sir. It is audible.
Uh, are you all getting me?
Yes, sir.
That's good. I have got one message that share your feedback form.
No, 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 no.
I
That
have not made any
is,
feedback form. You just get it
no, no,
done
no.
please at your end.
Sir,
And,
you can proceed your
and send
presentation.
to
Go
me.
with your presentation. That
Okay.
we are following up participation. We are requesting.
Okay. So now for the coming time, the threat of CBRN emergencies are escalating. This chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. The threats caused by these are continuously increasing, and here the civil engineering is having a very great role because these all facilities are to be made by construction departments, civil engineering departments, so that these chemicals, this radiological material, this nuclear material may not get released, and common people may not become the victim of the release of such a type of hazardous materials. Here you can see there is a flag, black flag on a yellow background. It is the sign of nuclear and radiological materials. And there is a biological material. And if there is a chemical material, such a rhombus type shape you can see. Now, when we talk about nuclear material, let us just start something about nuclear material. It's a very interesting that what is difference between a normal bomb blast and a nuclear blast. Nowadays अब टीवी में भी लगातार रोज सुनते आ रहे हैं कि चाइना के पास इतने न्यूक्लियर बॉम्ब है, अमेरिका के पास इतने हैं, पाकिस्तान के पास इतने हैं, इंडिया के पास इतने हैं, अगर इतने न्यूक्लियर बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट हो गए तो फिर क्या होगा? तो आप क्या बता सकते हैं कि नॉर्मल बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट में और न्यूक्लियर बॉम्ब में क्या फर्क है? चलिए मैं बताता हूँ। आप अब वेबिनार में और जो फेस टू फेस सामने सेमिनार होता है उसमें यही फर्क है कि हम लोग इतना ज्यादा आपस में अट्रैक्ट नहीं कर पाते। तो या तो फिर कुछ कैमराज ऑन हो तो फिर हम फेस टू फेस एक्सप्रेशन देख पाते। तो न्यूक्लियर अटैक जो नॉर्मल बम ब्लास्ट में क्या होता है कि देयर आर शॉक वेव्स, देयर आर मैकेनिकल वेव्स, ब्लास्ट होता है विच आर कॉल्ड ब्लास्ट वेव्स। ब्लास्ट होने से स्ट्राइक होता है और धक्का लगने से whatsoever comes in the way of those waves it gets destroyed and everything becomes normal. Whereas in nuclear blast there are three ways in which sorry destructions takes place. One is with blast, it is shock waves. Second is with radiation. After shock waves, there is radiation. And third is with heat waves. Millions of degree temperature is created at the ground zero where the nuclear bomb strikes. So with those millions of degree temperature, large number of people are killed. Everything becomes vaporized. So where the normal bomb strikes, normal bomb kills due to shock waves or blast waves, the nuclear bomb kills with three like blast waves, thermal rays or means heat, on third with radiations. You can see that is the ground zero of the nuclear blast, and there is a tremendous amount of heat, that is millions of degree temperature is generated at the ground zero, and suction starts. Due to this heavy heat, vacuum becomes there, a vacuum is created, and with the vacuum the suction starts and everything goes up whirling, and you see a mushroom cloud is created. And mushroom clouds depends on the yield of the bomb, and it also depends on the climatic conditions at that time and the direction of the wind. A nuclear bomb blast which is blasted in Pakistan may affect India also. There is a blast in Russia may affect in Europe also. Like in Chernobyl, when there was a nuclear reactor blast, the detection was done in Europe. With winds, the radiations also move away. So when this mushroom cloud, it becomes cloud, and after condensation, the radiations comes down again in the form of rain, and then again destroys whatsoever comes in the way. It kills, it don't kill the structures, but it kills the biological things whatsoever come in its way. So here we need our knowledge, our mitigation processes, because you need not to worry because this is the mitigation is lying with our Defense Research and Development Organization and our security services, our defense services, where our target is to destroy this nuclear warhead in space only, so that the blast effect can be reduced, the heat effect can be reduced. Now the third effect, which is radiation, it is going to spread. Now for radiation, a common people, the teachers, the students, everybody should have knowledge how to protect from radiations. For this, after the nuclear tests were done in Pokhran and many more, it has been, the guidelines have been released, and these are some international guidelines, that the nuclear radiations, they get settled down after 4 days. So the time has been given by the government for 7 days, that keep one basement or some lobby inside your house for 7 days. So in case of any nuclear attack or nuclear blast, the blast and thermal effect will be taken care by our defense services, and rest is the radiation. The volunteers and the teachers, students, housewives, and common people, they have to protect themselves from the radiations. Don't come out of your house. Keep inside your house, like we are keeping nowadays also due to corona. Inside your house on beds will be your basements, and especially the metro of Delhi, Calcutta, and whatsoever new one are coming up, they are designed as a basements or the bunkers of nuclear blasts also, so that the VIPs and many people can be taken there also, where there is no effect of nuclear radiations or even the shock or heat waves. So on 9th August 1945, there was a nuclear attack on Nagasaki. That was a bomb fat man of 14 pounds. And after that, they converted the city into ashes. So the terrorist organizations, it's very difficult for terrorist organizations to organize such a type of blast, such a type of event of nuclear attack, because it needs a large amount of technology. Chain reaction has to be created, fission reaction has to be taken place, or if in case of hydrogen bond fusion action has to be taken place. It is not so easy. So what they can do, they can just take up nuclear material, this radioactive material, which gives out radiations, by they which continue on decaying and give on radiations, and in the powdered form, they mix it with the normal crude bomb and blast it. It will not give any type of thermal rays. It will not make any mushroom cloud, but the contamination of the radiation will spread all. So you might be remembering on 9th April 2010, there was a radiation in Mayapuri junkyard, one of the junkyard in Mayapuri market, where from Delhi University somebody has sold the junks of Cobalt 60. Otherwise, it should not have been sold, because these are regulated by the Bhabha Atomic Research Center and Atomic Energy Commission. But I don't know why it was being sold. Nobody took care of it. And when the junkyard person, उसने उसको तोड़ा, तो क्या हुआ कि रेडिएशंस हो गई, उससे एक विक्टिम भी बन गया और काफी लोग उससे जल भी गए. तो टेस्ट क्या कर सकते हैं, फूड बम में इस रेडिएशन मटेरियल को डाल के कंटेमिनेशन फैला सकते हैं. सो व्हेनेवर देयर इज सम बम ब्लास्ट और समथिंग लाइक दैट, सीधा वहां पे ना जाइए. ऑलवेज कीप योर मास्क ऑन योर फेस सो दैट these radiations may not go inside you. अगर आप prepared हैं, if you are aware, these radiations are not going to kill you. Why? Because alpha particles are the most dangerous particles of the radiation. There are alpha, beta, gamma. These are the three major, and neutrons. These are the four majors. And rather, alpha, beta, gamma is the three major radiation particles and rays. So alpha particles can't even penetrate a paper. Even it can't penetrate a paper. So if you even put a paper on your mouth, it is going to protect you. Paper on your face, it is going to protect you. So always keep mask in case you have happen to move anywhere outside. Nowadays, everybody is normally keeping the mask. So the days have masks, I think they have come nowadays. So this is what I am giving awareness, because now we are going through corona. Nobody has thought about corona. Someday, if something nuclear happen, before that the TV and channels and everybody is going to aware you. You are already aware, and by this awareness, you can kill thousands of lives. So these radioactive dispersal devices, these are called dirty bombs. These are those bombs in which the crude radioactive material is put on the crude bomb, and it is blasted, so that it doesn't blast the thermal and radiation cloud, but it contaminates the area where it is spread. So never buy anything, any fresh vegetable or fruit from that area. It can be contaminated with radiation also. But don't think that I am threatening you. It is only in case there is some radioactive attack by terrorist or any antisocial elements. So this is how we can protect. Radiation self-protection. Common man can protect oneself. So there is a thumb rule of TDS, that is time, distance, and shielding. So keep minimum time of your exposure. Less is the exposure, less is the dose of radiation that goes inside you. I tell you that anything that our body takes inside, like any chemical or any drug that you take inside you, most of the time the body absorbs what we require and sheds out what is not required. Even the food that we take, body absorbs what we require and throws out in elimination that is not required, or the waste. But in case of radiation, body absorbs all the radiation that goes inside, and it will remain till your death. And the next time when you absorb more radiation, it will be culminating. It will add on that death. So that's why the scientists and the technicians that work in radioactive environment, they are given the radioactive dosimeters that measure how much radiations they are taking. So after some limit of safe dose, so they are just asked to move out of that environment, and they are given different type of duties, because more than one dose can become lethal for a human being. So give minimum exposure to that area. Then keep maximum distance. More is the distance, less is the dose. So keep maximum distance from radiations. And third is the shielding. So shielding for alpha particles, paper can give shielding. For beta particles, even a book can give a shielding. Then there is a very good shielding which is given by a concrete wall. A concrete wall shields a large, and maximum shielding is given by lead. lead ऐसा प्रोडक्ट है अभी तक दुनिया में जो फाइंड आउट किया गया जो मैक्सिमम शील्डिंग करता है, लेकिन गामा रेज को वो भी नहीं कर पाता। काफी हद तक गामा रेज को शील्ड करता है, लेकिन पूरी तरह से शील्ड नहीं कर पाता। लेकिन जो कंक्रीट के वॉल है, अल्फा बीटा पार्टिकल्स को भी शील्ड करता है, गामा रेज को भी कुछ शील्ड करता है, पूरी तरह से शील्ड नहीं करता। तो कंक्रीट वॉल्स जो हैं, दे आर वेरी गुड प्रोटेक्शन इन केस ऑफ अगर emergency conditions. So it is always advised to be beyond the concrete walls or protect yourself behind any concrete wall. So this was all about the nuclear emergencies which may take place, and this is the very big threat and future disasters which are going to come. So it is the time that we should get prepared for it, and civil engineering that has got a great role to play to cope up with any type of disasters, especially with the coming future threats. You have got a key role to play here, so just get prepared for it. Now we come to our chemicals. There are over 30 lakhs chemicals which are there, which are named, which are called hazardous chemicals, which can be hazardous to us. So it is mandatory all over the world that this type of information should be there on each and every chemical, that is health related data, fire related data, and reactivity related data. So it is mandatory that every packet should keep all these things. But 30 lakhs chemicals, they cannot be kept in the mind. So all these chemicals, they are divided into 9 classes. We have just to remember the class. Like class 1 is explosive. So all the explosives, all the chemicals which have got the property of explosion or explosives, they come in class 1. Then class 2 are all gases. Class 3 is flammable liquids, those liquids that can catch fire like LPG. And class 4 are solids. 5 are oxidizing substances. 6 are toxic and infectious substances. 7 is radioactive substances. 8 are corrosives, and 9 are various miscellaneous substances. You need not remember all these things. Just this is for your mind, just to keep in the mind that there are 9 classes in which 30 lakh chemicals are classified. right? You can see a rhombus type of structure is made. And you can see these type of structures in all the types of containers that contain these type of chemicals, even in your laboratories, in even your acids or any chemicals that you bring at your home, even the containers, the trucks that carry LPG or any chemicals for transportation, even on aeroplanes and ships also, such type of symbols are mandatory to be made all around so that everybody may come to know that some hazardous material is being transported or is there packed inside this box or a container. Gases, liquids, flammable solids, oxidizing substances, poisonous, toxic, and infectious substances, radioactive substances. You can see the same flag, black flag on yellow background. It is class 7. Then come hazchem code. There is a code that is called hazardous chemical code. It is of 3 digits actually, 3 digits. The one is a number 1, 2, 3, or 4. Then second is P, Q, R, S, T, W, X, Y, Z, an alphabet. And the third digit is E, eco. There is also a digit E, that is also an alphabet. So with these 3 digits, a hazchem code is made. So now let us see what is this. You need not to worry much about it because these all codes, these all symbols, these are classes, they are made on every container. So whenever you go outside on the road, you see these containers, you can just now recognize what actually it is. So hazchem code 1, 2, 3, or 4, first digit. P, R, S, T, W, X, Y, or Z is second digit. And one additional letter is E in some cases. Like chlorine, it is 2xe, kerosene, 3y, sulfuric acid, 2p, oleum, 4we. Hazchem and class label need to be seen from distance as letter and label size are prescribed. There should be big one so that in case of some accident, you can see this hazchem code from distance. And according to that hazchem code, you can design the rescue operation. Now let us see what is it. The numbers in the emergency action hazchem code, first number 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1 indicates jet of water. If there is some accident, you need what type of extinguisher? That you need jet of water. 2 indicates fog or droplets. Fog type of fire extinguisher is needed because some temperatures is likely to increase. Fire may take place, and fog brings down the temperature, or droplets bring down the temperature. So fog type of fire extinguisher is required. Third means foam type of fire extinguisher is required. And fourth means some dry agent. रेत की जरूरत है, मुल्लर पिलर सत की जरूरत है, इस टाइप की मिट्टी डालने की जरूरत है ताकि आप उस केमिकल को सुखा सकें. So this is the first digit. And the second PRST means it is volatile. तो कभी भड़क सकता है, धमाका कर सकता है. और उसमें आपको क्या क्या प्रोटेक्टिव इक्विपमेंट चाहिए और उसको आप डाइल्यूट कर सकते हैं. पानी डालकर उसमें उसको यू कैन डाइल्यूट इट. जितना डाइल्यूट करेंगे तो उससे क्या होगा, उसका जो हजार्डस प्रॉपर्टीज हैं वो कम हो जाएंगी. और WXYZ है तो वो भी वोलाटाइल है, लेकिन उसको आप कंटेन कर सकते हैं. यू शुड नॉट डाइल्यूट इट. उसमें पानी डालने से ज्यादा नुकसान हो सकता है. यू हैव टू कंटेन इट. यू कैन यूज कॉटन, यू कैन यूज क्लोथ, यू कैन यूज any type of observant so that it can be contained. And if there is E written and the third digit, it means it considers evacuation. Immediately evacuate the whole area. Just 500 to 1 kilometer away from that area, so that in case of any emergency, people can be protected. So immediately evacuate the people if he is at the third place. For example, is liquid white petroleum gas. Its UN number is 1075 and its hazchem code is 2WE. 2 means fog type extinguisher should be used. W means that it should be contained. It should not be put in it. It should not be allowed to enter sewers or other water bodies. And last body E indicates that people should be evacuated, asked to leave that area. So this is how these indicators are given the transportation or the container that it takes. Then comes the chemical emergency. If suddenly there is running nose, flow of tears, excessive salivation, burning sensation, pressure on chest, coughing, contraction of muscle, nausea, उल्टी जैसा आ रहा है, vomiting हो रहा है, रेस्पिरेशन सांस लेने में आपको दिक्कत आ रही है, तो हो सकता है कि कोई केमिकल इमरजेंसी हो गई हो। ऐसा लोगों को आमतौर पर लगा था जब भोपाल में कुछ रात को सोए सोए लोगों को सांस लेना मुश्किल हो गया था, लोग खांसने लग गए थे, आंखों से लगातार पानी आ रहा था, लोगों को उल्टी आनी शुरू हो गई। अभी वाइजैक में भी पीछे स्टीरिन गैस लीक हुई थी, तब भी लोगों को कुछ ऐसा लगने लग गया, रात के टाइम पर अचानक सांस जो सी रुकने लग गए। तो किस किस तरीके की इमरजेंसी हो सकती है केमिकल लीकेज फ्रॉम केमिकल फैक्ट्रीज लाइक भोपाल गैस एंड स्टेरिन इन वाइजैक, केमिकल एक्सीडेंट्स आर पॉसिबल, केमिकल अटैक्स बाय अदर कंट्रीज, अगर केमिकल अटैक्स भी कर सकते हैं, बायोलॉजिकल अटैक्स भी कर सकते हैं। केमिकल वॉरफेयर कन्वेंशन हुई थी 29 अप्रैल 1997 में, जिसमें कहा गया था, जेनेवा में हुई थी, कि इस प्रकार का केमिकल अटैक्स दैट इज द हीनियस ऑफ द हीनियस क्राइम, सो केमिकल अटैक शुड नॉट बी देयर, और जिनके पास भी केमिकल वेपन्स हैं दे शुड बी डिस्ट्रॉयड। और केमिकल वेपन्स के बेस बनाकर ही जो कंट्रीज ने इराक के ऊपर हमला किया था। तो केमिकल अटैक के चांसेस कम है, लेकिन ऐसा ये नहीं समझना चाहिए कि जो कंट्रीज हैं वो अपने अंदर केमिकल वेपन्स नहीं बना रही हैं, छुपा के हो सकता बना। उसके अलावा जो सबसे ज्यादा चांसेस हैं, मैक्सिमम आर द चांसेस ऑफ केमिकल टेररिज्म, इट इज पॉसिबल बिकॉज नाउअडेज टेररिस्ट्स आर लाइकली टू एजुकेट, हाईली मोबाइल एंड स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड टेररिज्म रिमेन्स सिग्निफिकेंट कंसर्न। तो बहुत ज्यादा चांसेस हैं कि टेररिस्ट जो हैं इस प्रकार के केमिकल्स का यूज करके मास कैजुअलिटीज क्रिएट कर सकें। So we have to be very much prepared for that. So regarding the styrene gas leakage at Vizag, so what happened actually on 7th May 2020, time was about 2 to 3 a.m. and the factory was LG Polymers India Limited and location was the outskirts of Visakhapatnam and the chemical was styrene. So styrene is to be kept at 20 degrees centigrade temperature, but because of the lockdown due to this COVID, the factory was closed. It was also locked down, but nobody cared about the refrigeration and kept keeping the temperature at 20 degrees of this deadly chemical styrene. So due to non-refrigeration, the temperature increases and it becomes volatile. And after volatile, it just leaked out of the chimneys. And you very well know that near about 1,000 people were affected and 13 deaths were just established at that time. So it is a class 3 flammable liquid type of chemical. So what are the effects of the various chemicals on our body? Nerve agents, there are some nerve agents which are there in insecticide, pesticides. खासकर दिल्ली के आसपास बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्रीज हैं जो इंसेक्टिसाइड, पेस्टिसाइड्स हैं, और उसके अलावा बहुत सारी फार्मा इंडस्ट्रीज हैं जिनमें क्या है कि नर्व एजेंट्स हैं. And what they do, they affect the nervous system. With the effect of nervous system, what happens? Involuntary movement of muscles takes place. आप कॉकरोच के ऊपर फिनिट मारते हैं ना, तो कॉकरोच क्या करता है, चारों तरफ झटके मारता है, और झटके मारने के बाद क्या उसकी डेथ हो जाती है. When its potency is more and when this chemical is affected on human body, what happens? Involuntary movement of muscles takes place, convulsions take place, and the people die. And then come blister agents, जिसमें बहुत सारे क्या होते हैं, फोड़े हो जाते हैं, फुंसियां हो जाते हैं हमारे शरीर के अंदर भी और बाहर के अंदर भी. These are called mustards. And आमतौर पे केमोथेरेपी के लिए इनका इस्तेमाल किया जाता है, लेकिन जब ये गलत हाथों में आ जाते हैं तो किस प्रकार से ये हमारे लिए नुकसानदायक हो सकते हैं. Low drone can throw these blister agents and kill a large number of people in society, and especially they can fly over through our universities or any educational institute, so that large number of people can be affected and large media attraction can be attracted. Then blood agents are like potassium cyanide and carbon monoxide, so which affects the oxygen carrying capacity of our blood, and with the lack of oxygen carrying capacity our brain dies and people may get killed. Choking agents, we just choke our mind. This coronavirus, what it did, it is a biological agent which gives choking, and with this choking the people die. And such a type of chemicals, if we talk about chemicals, chlorine and water purifiers, they are also a type of choking agents. Then vomiting agents. Then there are mental incapacitors. आपने देखा होगा बहुत बार लोग, खासतौर पे दिल्ली में तो ऐसा बहुत होता है, अलग मोहल्लों में बाबा लोग आते हैं और लेडीज आते हैं, जेंट्स आते हैं, उनको अट्रैक्ट कर लेते हैं कि भाई अपना गोल्ड उतारो, इसको हम डबल करके दे देते हैं. तो व्हाट वे डू, दे कंटेन सम हैलुसिनेटिंग एजेंट्स और एलएसडीज व्हाट वी कॉल. तो उसका धुआं या उसका केमिकल का जो थोड़ा सा इफेक्ट बॉडी को, माइंड उनसे सोचने समझने की क्षमता खत्म हो जाती है. माइंड स्टॉप्स थिंकिंग एंड इट इफेक्ट्स फॉर 15 to 20 मिनट्स. एंड दिस इज कुछ जादूगर लोग जो बोलते हैं कि हम लोग किसी को हिप्नोटाइज किया है. एक्चुअली वो हिप्नोटाइज नहीं है. दिस इज द यूज ऑफ सच मेंटल कैपेसिटर or hallucinating agents, roid control agents, and some hallucinating agents are tetrahydrocannabinol, lysergic acid, BZ. Then chemical agents, this is the way they affect our body, like serine, these are the nerve agents, and mustard gas, they affect all our body. And Kim Jong-nam, who was the cousin of the dictator of the North Korea, he was killed in 13th February 217 by VX chemical, which is a nerve agent, by some ladies in the Kuala Lumpur airport. These blisters and the effect, it is called the deadliest of the chemical. You can see the blisters. The blistering agents are known as queen of chemical warp agents. So what is the main threat? That it affects after 4 to 6 hours of the exposure. So until that time, the drone might have also gone, and the person who has bought this type of weapons may also flew from that area. Then comes the last portion of our lecture is biological emergency, which is going on nowadays. So what is bioterrorism? It's a deliberate release of virus, bacteria, toxins, insects, or other harmful agents to cause illness or death in people, animals, or plants. So certain pathogens, they are specially deliberately used.
तो दो चार बंदे हैं अपने यहाँ से कलर कर सकते हैं.
15 minutes. So there are certain pathogens which are being used to kill a large number of people. So these can be like the pathogen which is in the form of virus. Corona is already there in our society, in our area. It has become a pandemic. There are certain insects also, they may move out. Now you just understand the time has come. Now the warfare is not of conventional warfare. The warfare is of CVRN, chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. And this is a part of biological warfare in which the economies of a big countries, they can be brought down. So this is the chemical, biological warfare which is going on. And it can give death of a large number of people. It uses pathogens which are found in nature, even in nature also, but could be mutated. Some mutations or biological engineering is done on those pathogens so that it can be made more deadly, so as to increase their ability to spread into the environment. So there are 3 categories of these type of pathogens. Category A, which are risks to national security. Category B, which are incapacitating. And category 3, which are emerging pathogens, which are biologically engineered pathogens. And actually the threat to humanity. आपको मालूम होगा कि जो मोहनजोदारो और हड़प्पा कल्चर था प्री BC में, अचानक ही सारी की सारी इतनी हाईली सिविलाइजेशंस खत्म हो गई. तो इनके पास ये कैपेसिटी है, इन टाइप के पैथोजेंस के पास, इस इंजीनियर्ड पैथोजेंस के पास. हमारी डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस तो चल रही है, लेकिन अगर हम इसमें डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट का एलिमेंट नहीं रखेंगे तो हमारी ह्यूमैनिटी के लिए भी ये थ्रेटन हो सकते हैं. दे कैन बिकम वेरी मच डेंजरस. एंड सम ऑफ देम आर हंटा वायरस, निपा वायरस, and novel coronavirus, which are genetically engineered. And novel coronavirus, which is already going there. And in pigs and cows, it gives diarrhea. In chickens, it causes respiratory tract. And human beings, you know very much that this virus, it also affects the respiratory system and the people due to choking. And at the same time, if you are affected by any other disease, like you are with diabetic patient or anything else, these just increase the vulnerability of a person to death. Then in 1918 and 1920, about 100 years back, the same type of virus in the form of flu was Spanish flu, which killed here about 500 million people are affected and 5 million people were killed. But during World War I, it was not made people actually. And it was actually in Spain, who was not involved in the World War. It was first to declare that there is such type of flu. So that's why it is called Spanish flu. So second pandemic, which was caused by H1N1 virus, it was in 2009, like swine flu, and killing 18,449 people. So Here I want to say that all the faculties, not only civil engineering faculty, even all the engineering faculties, all the humanities, all the departments, they all should take care of this disaster management process. So there was a SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome in 2002, and Middle East respiratory syndrome, MERS. And the threat of smallpox is always there. Threat of smallpox is always there. Smallpox, it is said that world is eradicated from the smallpox. But, and the people who have born before 1980s, they have been vaccinated with smallpox, and they are naturally free from smallpox. They are vaccinated for that. But the children who have born after 1980s, they are not vaccinated. And in case such a type of virus comes again in the society, it will be deadly and it can kill thousands and crores of people. Even today, the virus of smallpox is kept at Atlanta in USA and Moscow in USSR for research purpose. But in case it is released, or it is deliberately released by somebody, or it is accidentally released, it can become fatal, especially for all those generations which are born after 1980. And anthrax attacks, you very well know that it was done in 11 September 2001 after the World Trade Center attack. Anthrax letters were spread. Anthrax is a bacteria pathogen, which goes inside our body through our airways and may become a fatal. It was used in India also, but India nobody was affected or much affected because we are already very much vulnerable. We have got a good immunity at that time because we are using our dirty hands in the environment which we are living, and the environment of anthrax, like buffaloes, cows, which generally have this type of disease, they are very much immune to it. So plague, it happened, it is known as Black Death from 1937 to 1351. It killed millions of
The
people.
last 5 minutes. Yeah, can you
So
summarize?
it affected in India also, and in Surat in 1994, and in Himachal Pradesh, it again affected. But our got very efficiently able to curb it. So it can be used, these chemicals and biological agents, to kill the plantation also. Like BT cotton of the Punjab was killed, and 80% of the cotton was just destroyed, which is the biggest producer of the cotton. And a large number of farmers committed suicide because destruction. And it was due to white flies, which were deliberately sent. So locust attack come from Africa to India, but very efficiently our government and our people overcome it. So maximum of the time, it is our lifestyle that makes us vulnerable to attack. Even you can see that in the earlier areas. पहले दिनों में क्या होता था, हम आप कभी मंदिर में देखा होगा, जब गुरुद्वारे में जाते हैं तो बाहर जूते उतार के जाते हैं, फिर स्नान करते हैं, फिर जाके अंदर जाते हैं. इसका मतलब क्या है कि हम लोग अपने आप को स्वच्छ रखते हैं, साफ रखते हैं, ताकि अपने मंदिर में जाएं तो साफ रहें. हमारा घर भी तो एक मंदिर है, लेकिन हम वहाँ पे जूते लेके कहाँ नहीं जाते, बेडरूम में जाते हैं, किचन में जाते हैं, everywhere we go with our shoes. So in this way we become more vulnerable to such a type of attacks. If we manage such a small things, we manage, definitely we can protect ourselves, our forces, and our people, our family also. So there are large, which is very much becoming popular, the weapon, these are toxins. Toxins are those chemicals that are released by biological or organic matters, but are very much dangerous to human beings. These are chemicals, but are not made industrially. These are chemicals which are released by organic matter. So about Vishkanyas in Morena Pars, you might be knowing very much. Their small girls were used to use their body fluids by which they can use to kill the people by doing sex or even by biting somebody. Even their saliva used to have some poisons in it. So don't think that such a things are not possible nowadays. So now we come to response management, which requires earliest detection, protection, decontamination, recovery, and prophylaxis. About all these things, you might have seen, and you know, prophylaxis is a way in which we can protect our body prior to any disease. We just prepare our body to fight with it. So detection, like rapid on-site testing and off-site testing in pathology labs. Rapid testing gives immediate results, and off-site testing gives detailed results and takes time. So in the end, I just summarize what we have studied till now, that potentially impact and probability of happening. So impact of nuclear weapon is maximum, but its probability is less. Nuclear device has less impact, but probability has increased. Similarly, radioactive material has more probability, but impact is less. Blast events, they carry on every day in our life, but its impact is less. But now impact is increasing with chemical agents, which is the coming future threat. And the maximum threat is a biological agent, which is going on nowadays. It has become a pandemic and killing lakhs and lakhs of people. And we are just watching for the vaccine. And we are waiting for the vaccine. And it is a need that along with natural disasters, we are vulnerable to terrorism and such a type of proxy wars. And we should have a good training of all these things, not only to our police personnel or any NDRF or medical, but to every student, to every engineering student. And the engineering students has especially much to do with it. It is a great, big point of research, especially for chemical engineering students and the same time for civil engineering students to work on it. You can do a big research on all these subjects. And these are the new aspects and new fields to study. And maximum loss of life and property is due to lack of awareness among the common mass. And it is compulsory that we should spread this knowledge not to everyone. It's only 1 or 2 minutes left. So we have to equip our civil administration also, and along with, I will just suggest you that in your colleges also, universities also, there are certain basic courses that should be conducted for all the type of engineering faculties, especially like medical first responders, that in case of any medical emergencies, any person get sick or anybody gets trauma or anything, how to respond. These are the things that everybody should be knowing. Then especially for civil engineers, collapse, structure, search and rescue. In whatsoever structure you build up, whenever they collapse in different ways. Like beams and drills, they all girders, they collapse in different ways. And some things are those which give the maximum restrictions. So in case of any collapse, how can you predict that where you can find the maximum living people, from where you can get maximum lives during search and rescue? Then response management in severe and emergencies. So this is this model of attaining a sustainable development. The development process is continuously going on. If you keep an element of disaster management in it and go on increasing with every development process, internal hazards increase, external hazard increase, vulnerability increase. At the same time, you keep on doing risk assessment, risk is increasing, and you keep the element of hazard mitigation. And this hazard mitigation you are doing with the development process. And if you keep this model, definitely your dream of sustainable development is going to be achieved. So you have to prepare the culture of prevention and mitigation, culture of preparedness, culture of quick response, and culture of strategic thinking, because we are born on this earth to enjoy our life and not to die and come as a prey of any type of hazard and become a disaster. Remember, in India, we are sitting on the dynamite of disasters, which can explode anytime without any information. Protecting yourself during a disaster requires a planning before disaster. It is better to have a plan without a disaster than to have a disaster without a plan. And most of the times, disasters come without a plan. So thank you very much. Have a nice day. Jai Hind. So this is my email and phone number. If you need any of the information regarding these subjects, you can communicate with me. And now it's all up to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. We have, I request participants, if you have any question, please update this question in chat list. Sir, we have one question from Dr. Ashish. He's asking, what is the grade of concrete usually recommended to obstruct the radiation?
Actually, I am basically not from the civil engineering department, actually, civil engineering
Okay,
side. So civil engineering, they may work out on it in a better way.
It's okay, sir. Sir, and also one of the participants is requesting, can you share the PPT? Is it possible?
You have got the recording?
Can you share your PPT? They are asking.
Sure, I will send it as a PDF. No.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I will send it to you. You can share it.
Yeah, I can circulate. I think we won't have any questions. If they have any questions, I will collect it and I will email you, sir.
Definitely, it will always be a great pleasure and
Yes.
honor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Professor, it's a wonderful and informative presentation. You have categorically discussed the difference between the disaster, risk, and cause of the disaster. From your presentation, you have highlighted that disaster management is a strategic planning and procedure that is administered and employed to protect the critical infrastructure from severe damages when natural or human-made calamities and catastrophic even occur. So from this your presentation, we have learned this. With this slide, now I'm going for vote of thanks. I'm thankful to all students, faculty, and staff for coming to attend this webinar. I'm sure that students, faculty, and staff must have benefited by attending this webinar. I'm thankful to our director, Professor S.N. Sridhara, for providing us with all logistic support towards organizing this event. And also, I'm sincerely thanks to Professor Jog Bhatia for accepting our invitation to be the guest of speaker for this webinar. And also, I thanks Mr. Ankit Batra, Sambhav, and also Sanjeev for his support for organizing this seminar. At the end, I once again heartily thanks to faculty, staff member, and students for their support. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Let us all join our hands to make our country a better and a safer place to live in by us as well as for our coming generations. Good day.
Thank you.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir. And I request